Hi everybody, it's Darryl The Trusted Travelier. Today we're doing a slightly different adventure. This one's a little bit more close to home. I'm filming at my house today. The four words that I have for you is Lanark County Maple Syrup. Lanark County Maple Syrup. Lanark County Maple Syrup. Homemade, best stuff in the world, I swear. We make maple syrup on our property here for our own personal use. So I thought that I would show you what we do to create them, and maybe I can inspire somebody to create their own maple syrup as well. Stick around.
Darryl the Trusted Travelier. Darryl the Trusted Travelier. Gonna raid some trails in Canadian bush with Darryl the Trusted Travelier. With Darryl the Trusted Travelier.
Okay, so the first thing we're looking at here is these are supplies that I personally use to do my tree tapping. So basically I have a drill, cordless drill with a 7/16 drill bit. These are the particular taps that I purchased this year. These are brand new in the package. I went down to my local hardware store and I bought them, and I think they were fairly cheap. I think it was like $11 for 10 of them. So that's actually not bad at all. These particular ones are actually biodegradable and they're earth friendly. So these ones here are actually good if you're really into the earth. This right here is a water jug that I use for my sap. I'll show you how I make it so that it's my sap bucket. The thing I like about them is that they're completely sealed, so that when I hang them a certain way, they're completely usable. You can, and they're also food safe as well. Which is a big key. I mean, a lot of the people, if you're not careful and you use the wrong kind of plastics, sometimes the plastics can leach into your food. So you have to make sure that anything you use, if it's not metal, is going to be food grade quality plastics. The other thing we're going to need is we're going to need a rubber mallet of some type to put the taps into the trees. So I'll show you the tap. So again, this is what the tap looks like. So it has a little hook on the end here. That's the end where the sap comes out. And this is the end that gets tapped into the tree. So these are really quite handy to have. And like I say, these ones are fairly cheap. So I don't mind spending the money. So I'll show you what I do with these jugs. So these jugs, if you go down to your local grocery store, I think it's like $4 for a jug of water. So, you know, you can drink the water and then you can use the jug. I mean, if you're to go and purchase actual equipment for doing tree sap tapping, they're very expensive. So this is my cheap alternative as to what I personally use, and it's food safe. So I feel completely confident in what I'm using. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our jug, and I've already pulled it off. This is a little rubber opener for pouring things out for when it's water. Now I just pull this off, set that off to the side. This jug here, so if we think about it, so if we go to the back half, and I'm going to make it so that I'm going to drill 2 holes in the back half of this jug so that this will actually hook into the back here, and it's going to hang on the tree, and when this is back on, when I put the cover back on, it'll be completely sealed. So as you can see, I've drilled my 2 holes. These are the 2 I'm going to use. This one here was an accident. I accidentally drilled it off to the side a little bit too much, but again, not a big deal. You make an error, who cares? It's just for our own personal use. All right, so there it is with the spile inside of the jug. So now this would be on the tree. This will be in the tree here, and this will be hanging on the tree like this. So when you put these on here, this actually supports all of the weight of the jug into the tree. So I'll go ahead and I will tap the tree, and I'll show you how it goes in. Okay, so you're going to want to be sure that when you drill your hole, you're going to come down on a slight downward angle. You don't want to be going up because the sap is going to want to run down due to gravity. So, and you also don't want to go too deep. You might want to only go maybe 3/4 of an inch, half an inch at the most. So let's do this. The other thing you want to make sure your tree is a good, healthy tree that you're tapping. You don't want to do one that is already in distress or one that's already got a lot of problems, because all you're doing by doing that is you're going to harm the tree a bit more. This tree is good and healthy, so we're going to go ahead and tap this one. Okay, so we've done that, and our actual tree itself is actually already dripping sap as soon as I drilled the hole in it. So that's a great sign. It's a beautiful day out here. So now I'm going to take my spigot, or our tap. I'm going to put it in with the drip side down. Give it a couple of light taps. And then we're just going to hang our bucket onto our tap. Sap is already flowing. This tree is really running quite well today. Another tip for people who are doing this: if you tap the tree on the sunny side, you'll find that you get a little bit more flow from your taps just due to the tree being warmer on that side. So we tap a total of 6 trees here, not a whole lot, but just enough to keep us the maple syrup that we want for our supply. Let's see how much we've got in there. And again, we just did this last night, so this is not, we don't have a whole lot this morning, but because I'm firing up the evaporator, I figure I might as well get rid of all the sap that we've got. The dog just went running by. Sound of the birds is amazing, plus the maple syrup dripping. Great sounds of spring this morning. All right, so essentially here's our evaporator. So we got the wood in there now for our fire. I've got our bricks set up. I've got our top here for the pot. So now let's light it up. Okay, the fire is lit. Now we just gotta wait for it to get hot so it'll start boiling our sap. So now it's just essentially waiting and boiling this down until it's only syrup. I did a slight modification, you see, to the evaporator. So I put the bricks along the sides so that as the fire is heating up, it's channeling more of the heat straight up to boil the sap. And as you can see, that little modification has helped a lot with the boil process and how much it's boiling. We have now moved the finishing process indoors. We're going to take what's left of our syrup now and we're going to boil it down. The key here is we want to hit a temperature of 219 degrees. So as soon as the sap hits a 219 degree Fahrenheit, we will be turning it off, and at that point we will show you what else we do. So basically, I'll show you here. So this is our thermometer. This is what they call a candy thermometer. And this one is a digital one. I would suggest a digital thermometer for these for doing your syrup, just because it's a little bit more easy to read. But this is going to boil down, and right now during the boiling process, it's about 213 degrees. So it's going to slowly come up, and if you get it too hot, if it gets anything over like 220 degrees, it'll start to candy. So it's very critical that 219 degrees is met, and as soon as you hit 219 degree Fahrenheit, you turn it to the off position. Okay, so our temperature for our syrup is starting to get up now around 215 degrees. So it's time for me to transfer it over into a slightly smaller pot. The reason why I do this at this point is so that I can deal with it. So it's a little bit more easy to put the thermometer down inside. As is right now, if I try to hold the thermometer over that, the steam from the syrup will actually get a little bit too hot in my hands. So there we are with our transferred pot of syrup. Now, the one thing I do need to warn people about is that when you do bring this into your home to do the work, the finish work inside your home, your stove will take a bit of abuse. You can see my stove has been a little bit cooked over the years, just from doing this on the stove top. Because the amount of steam and the amount of heat that's generated from doing this process, it does play a little bit of a havoc on your stove. So just be aware of that before you get into this indoors when you're doing your finish work. We are sitting at our optimum temperature of 219 degrees right now. This is what it looks like when you're boiling hard at 219 degrees. So it's time to turn it off and take it off of the heat. I've gone ahead and prepared the mason jar with cheesecloth on the top to use as a filter for when we're pouring the syrup into the jars. So all I'm doing is letting it cool down a little bit, enough just to take the temperature off so it's not boiling when I'm pouring it in. So it'll drop down a couple degrees, go back down to about 215, 212 degrees. and I will pour it into these containers. And there we are, our jar of fresh Canadian maple syrup direct from Lanark County trees to your table. I hope that you've enjoyed our little journey today and learned something that you've never tried before, and maybe you want to get out and try this for yourself and see how actual enjoyable this kind of work is. If you like what you've seen here today, smash that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching.